second graders. It is so exciting to even be looking at the slide of our Dream Carnival. Thank you to everyone who participated in the votes that we did in each of our classes this week. Today, I'm going to be using fake data. So I made up the numbers because I didn't want to lead you down a path where you were feeling like, oh, Miss Allie already did this work. I don't need to do my bar graph. I want you to use the numbers from your class, or if you wanted to do 2 graphs, 3 graphs, you can choose the other classes to use the data and make your own bar graph. So this is made up answers from the Dream Carnival to show you how to build your bar graph. So let's go. The first thing I want to review is that there were 4 different categories. Get a supersized, yummy cotton candy, ride the loopy roller coaster, play a fun carnival game, or head straight to the Ferris wheel. I personally would, I don't know. I'm between number 1 and number 2. I think right now, because I'm pretty hungry, I would get a supersized cotton candy. That would be my vote. So I made up a fake data table for how many votes for each of our options or categories. So here is the table. It is titled Our First Stop at the Dream Carnival. Where would we go first? 7 votes for cotton candy, 10 for roller coaster, 3 for games, and 4 for Ferris wheel. I color-coded them so that when I'm making the bar graph, you can easily see each of the categories come to life. So now that we know our categories and the data in our handy table are 3 graph vocabulary words, we're ready to create our bar graph. Available to you on the Learning Padlet and through your teacher's emails are these bar graph sheets. They're blank and look like this. There are room for all 4 of the things you'll need to complete this graph. A title, a scale, because it's a bar graph, not a picture graph with a legend, categories, and data. So we're going to get started top left with the title, since it's easily transferable. Our first stop at the Dream Carnival. So as you saw, that table just kind of ran by really quickly, but I remembered our name. So the title, you're copying straight off the title of the table. Our first stop at the Dream Carnival. That is the title, and it matches our data table. So the next thing you need to do is create the scale. As you'll see, there are all of these blank, smaller square boxes. These square boxes are for your numbers of the scale. Remember, when you count from the bottom up, you start at 1. Because if a number was 0 at the bottom, there'd be nothing to color in next to it. So we are starting at 1 in the box and going all the way to the top, which should give you 16 total numbers. So go ahead and you can label your scale. 1 to 16. Or if it's easier for you to start at the top and go down, 16, 15, 14, and so on. Notice that 1 number is fitting in each box neatly, and that's what yours should do as well. We have now completed step 2, our scale. Our third step is looking at the categories and making sure they align from our table to our bar graph. So our first category is cotton candy, as you can see here in pink. So I'm going to match cotton candy and then come down to the very bottom of my bar graph, down to this line down here that is now blocked, and write cotton candy. Writing small enough to fit it on the line. I'm going to look at my second category, roller coaster, and match that to my second line, or roller coaster. My third option, games, match it to my third line down at the bottom. And finally, Ferris wheel. So now I have my 4 categories aligned just like so, and my categories are now done. Here comes the fun part. You can choose 4 different colors at home for yours. You can do all of them in the same color. It's really up to you how you want to do this. what you need to make sure of when you're plotting your data is that you're coloring each box fully and neatly. You must be careful because if the coloring goes outside the lines, in this case, it would look like another data point. So you need to be super, super careful with your coloring. We're going to start by doing the cotton candy graph. It says that we have 7 votes for cotton candy. So I should expect that my bar graph goes up to this line for 7 boxes to represent cotton candy. I want each of them colored in fully in the color of my choosing. I chose pink. So coming across this line at the 7 votes for cotton candy. My next would be roller coaster. I want the line to come up to here, 10, right? 10 full boxes colored blue for roller coaster. Fantastic. You can see there a tiny little bit of gap space. If I had a marker to color it in, I would do that. But it was a little tricky making it in this format. Next, 3 for games, making sure I color in 1, 2, and 3 boxes. And lastly, 4 for Ferris wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that when you make your bar graph, you're always counting from the bottom up. Bottom represents 1, and then you count up and on. So your scale represents that, where the highest number's at the top, the lowest at the bottom, and that's true of your data too. You always plot from the bottom up. So now we see all of our data has made its way into our bar graph. These are the 4 things that you will need to do for your bar graph at home using the data from your class vote. You need your title, your scale, the categories, and lastly, plotting the data. Upload them to Padlet, email them to your teachers. We can't wait to see all the votes from the Dream Carnival and how beautiful your bar graphs look. Hope you have fun with this, and I'll talk to you all soon.